p.m. Go around and introduce ourselves since we've got visitors here. I'm Sarah McManus, trustee and chair.
I'm Sue McClone, trustee.
I'm Michael Gary, city council representative here.
I'm Jenna Larson with the Library Friends of County.
I'm Andy Larson or Andrea Larson with Library Friends.
I'm Kevin McClure, I'm the vice president. I'm librarian here.
Amanda St. John, library director. And this is Nancy Shiger.
Hello. All right, we'll start with the approval of the consent agenda, which includes the agenda, minutes, thank you, Ryan, and the payment of bills.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And that brings us to our friends report. Thank you so much for being here.
Great, thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're very happy to be here, and I think probably Stacy mentioned that the suggestion was that we come monthly, and we thought maybe we could come quarterly. So Stacy will be probably the person that comes in 3 months, but if there are reasons for us to come sooner than that, we just hope you'll let us know.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm Joanna, and I am pretty new to the Library Friends. I think I started September 2024, so that's pretty new. So I'm still kind of figuring out how everything works, but I have taken over the treasurer role that Dan Smith was operating in, and so yes, I've just been excited to get to know more about the Library Friends and how we can help the library. And I also volunteer in the book room over at Odds and Ends, usually just a few hours a week. And yes, I'll maybe turn it over to you.
Again, I'm Andy Larson, and I have been with the Library Friends for about 3 to 4 years. Those years slip around a bit because, and especially with pandemic and things, the time frame seem to alter a lot. I think we have 9 people on our board. We're so lucky that we have some new people. Joanna has joined our board, and so has Kelsey Kennedy Rogers. So those are the 2 new people. We had some adjustments because Jan, who was the chair, had some medical complications with family and whatever. So she's taking a leave of absence until June. And then, and Stacy's been replacing her, but we're not sure exactly how that's going to go this summer. But Joanna stepped up, Stacy stepped up. I am the secretary at this point, but we're sort of straddling to make sure we can kind of keep things afloat. And we meet monthly. We try to have as many, we try to keep the board enlarged enough geographically so that we have someone that's reflecting the school in Grand Portage and also Birch Grove. So along the shore here. And I also work at Odds and Ends. I live primarily in Grand Marais about 90% of the time, but I go back and forth. And we had a number of volunteers when we made this huge shift to collaborate with Odds and Ends selling books. And that some of those folks have either left for the winter or they have decided that they're going to do other kinds of volunteer pursuits. So Joanna and I and Carl and Jack Miller and sometimes volunteers for Odds and Ends help us with the books. We've made some big changes this past few months because of sort of being allocated a better room to sort books. And so we've made a big move with our books closer to the major room that we sell books at odds and ends. And that has been a wonderful perk because we're getting much more efficient about how we take in books and donations, how we pack things up, how we send things off to savers. We were able to do that here this year in two harbors at Goodwill, but they no longer can take all these books. So we depend on volunteers, and volunteers can earn up to 2 hours, and they take them down to Duluth. The room is always changing. We've been getting lots of great compliments because we're getting cleaner and neater, and in the sense that we're disposing of books that just can't be easily sold. And the improvements to the building itself, with odds and ends, means that it's a much lighter, brighter area. And it's very cozy because it's collaborative, kind of like this library, in the sense that we now have furniture, so people can come in and sit, browse, look at a book. And we have, we're really encouraged for that, because that's a wonderful, it's the same, very much the same format as first and second, with regards to how volunteers can designate their volunteer hours in terms of making contributions to library friends and then to you. So we're eager to learn what kinds of things you would like, and you think are priorities for how we offer our contributions to not only Grand Marais Library, but to Birch Grove and to Grand Portage, and then GS, and 60 cents.
Thank you so much. And Andy, if I can add, the same list of priorities that I use with the board to show you what I was thinking we could be working on, for example, air source heat pumps, that information has been shared with the friends too, so they can have a look at what we're doing, where we're trying to head, and that they can see where their dollars have supported these projects. And if I can segue just a little bit, Andy, in this year, we're going to be working with Taproot Landscaping, Alyssa Burns. And if I could just take a moment to acknowledge that Andy has been working as the volunteer for our gardening in front of this library for years, and we are so grateful to have had your passion out there in the front.
It's a great labor of love.
It was.
And if I could segue, just make a little segue, I do go out to odds and ends quite often and take a look at the books, and the book room is really wonderful. And then I have a little suggestion for you to put in the back of your head. If ever Savers gets to the point where they won't take your books anymore, I don't know if there's a half-price books in Duluth, but half-price books in the Twin Cities will take almost anything. And I know this from experience because we did personal downsizing before we moved up here. And they will take just about anything. And what they do is the books get ground up so that they are recycled and used to make new paper, which is an honorable end for books.
Yes.
So that is just a thought, because I can imagine that Savers at some point will be like Goodwill and say, we're done.
We can gladly pass that on. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's no small feat to transport books. You know, we take what we can and sell what we can. And then, you know, it's getting to be kind of a large percentage of, you know, older books and things that just don't move in the book room that we then transport to Savers. So
yeah, and as older people appear downsize and perhaps go back to live with families elsewhere, I think you may see more of that.
We try to educate the donors too, because it's very generous that they bring the books. But I or other library volunteers are glad to hop out, and the people that are working there to accept donations are thrilled that we're there, because not only does it keep a connection going, but now I have my my spiel down. That is, we're not discriminatory about the books, but in terms of what we can sell. So we will take the books we can sell, but that means we can't take moldy books or books that are reference books or can't think of anything else at the moment, but
Yeah, just,
National Geographic.
yeah.
because then we're just it's overwhelming and we don't have the space for the storage, nor do we want that space. We want to get books out for people to read.
And then I would just say lastly that our goal has been through working with odds and ends to meet kind of that 10% of sales through the book room. And it regularly is each month. The books generate 10% of their total sales. So it's really a win-win yes, for us and for them to have that book room. So it's been a very positive, collaboration.
Yeah, I think that the big goal that is advertised a lot, and we try to encourage people that come to the store to understand it, is that we're really trying to save things from the landfill. So the more we can recycle, the better.
Thank you so much for coming, and you're welcome to stay. We're happy to have you for the rest of the meeting. You can see how our board operates.
That would be great. Thank you. I like that.
Thank you. It's so nice to see you both again.
All right. That brings us to Amanda's report.
Okay. The first thing I want to talk about is the Minnesota Public Library Annual Report, which we internally would call the MPLAR. This is a report that's required of us by law, and it happens every February and has to be submitted by basically the end of March. And that process is that I go into an electronic database and I answer a whole lot of questions about the output of our library. How many people have visited? How many books have circulated? How large is our children's collection? And so on. My part of the work is all finished, and we're getting Kim Van Beck from the city, who is our financial advisor. She has given us the December expense report, but she has a little bit of reconciling that happens after January. And so as soon as she's got those final numbers, she does a final check and a little bit of revision. And then that report comes to the board for the next meeting, and you all get to vote to approve and adopt this work. The library board president will sign off on this work that we've created, and it will be delivered electronically on schedule. So we're right where we need to be with getting the work done, and you'll get the report at the next meeting. The air source heat pumps are now installed. You can see some behind you.
They look good.
They do. I'm very excited about them. I set the propane-based heat sources down and set these to 68, and we can come in with temperatures in the 70s. So we're doing really good, and it's going to take a little getting used to what the settings in the building can be for the most efficient use and to optimize the electric heat source. And then with the weather fluctuations we've had this year, that's been an extra bit of fun. The fan unit, you'll see one right outside of this window and also one outside of our emergency exit and window over here. They are creating like ice dams that leak out. I don't think this one's going to be a problem, but we are talking about putting an emergency exit in over here. And so that's been on my mind in terms of the decisions that we would be making about the location of that door. You can't really make it not make water and ice, but we can attend it with sand and salt and potentially with some kind of something around the bottom that it'll just take a while getting used to.
Mhm.
This unit here and the one in the back of the building that is existing, they are underneath the roof line. I had talked with Donald Home Construction, about Twin Ports Custom Climate about mounting this, and they couldn't do it because our rock is facade. It couldn't hold it. It couldn't hold it. So it is gonna need a roof of some kind. The old units that were out there, they were dented in. And so you could see that there is that impact from the snow coming off the building. These units have technology all the way up to the top, so need to do something. Donald Home is looking at some solutions for us, and then I need to look around locally to see if there are some little roofs that can be made, and then come back with some proposals. We had to do some electrical work. We were checking to make sure that all the outlets in this room that get a lot of use are creating a secure connection. I have reallocated some of our staff workroom space. So I have put staff in different places in that room. And so we needed to do a little electrical work to avoid the safety hazard of plugging one thing into another. And there were some exposed wires outside with this air source heat pump that I took care of as well. Ryan and I committed Grand Marais Public Library to participate in a region-wide community read. That's called the NEA Big Read. Two Harbors and Silver Bay are taking the lead on managing that grant, but it is a massive situation with academic libraries and I think a prison jail library involved. And so we're waiting to see this April if our grant was approved. And if so, then it would be centered on the book I Cheerfully Refuse by Leif Enger.
Good book.
Have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Under communications, we've got the receipt for the air source heat pump work, the fund statement, and a very interesting article about libraries as a public resource. Thank you for sharing that, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Under old business, the director's review. So last month, we looked at a couple review tools. We decided on a evaluation of the library performance as opposed to a specific HR performance review of the director. Nancy had put together a really nice list of goals and priorities to evaluate the director on, or the library on, and then Amanda put it in a format that would work well for the city, we believe, as far as sharing information with them. So hopefully everyone's had a chance to look at that. Do we have any questions, discussion, thoughts?
Well, no, I just had an observation on, let's see, it's page 7, actually. It's the third page under successes. I think Amanda added number 2, significant accomplishments this year, and I think that was a very good addition, and I just want to note that. And I also really want to thank Sarah for bringing up the whole thing, because I think this will be a wonderful tool, first of all. And secondly, we did manage to, I think, clarify what kind of board we are in the process of doing this. So I think that we are an advisory board rather than an administrative board. And I think that was important too, so.
Would we like to adopt this tool and use it this fall and do an evaluation of ourselves?
Yes, I think so.
All right.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Are we moving to adopt the version that's in the city's format?
This one.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
layout. Yes.
Thank you.
Good clarification. Thank you. All right. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everyone, for your work on that.
Only took us years to get done.
I'm gonna use it. And I'm like, what are we doing? That's, at this point, I feel like the best thing is to use it and then adjust if needed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
good.
Yeah,
It'll make a whole lot more sense.
yes. All right, under new business, Amanda, do you want to go over computer quotes for us?
Absolutely. So just winding back so we have the whole picture here, the computers that we have in the library are 5 and 6 years old, which is the typical replacement time period. Additionally, we had trouble with the computers updating to Windows 11. We were able as a strategy to do an update on the public computers that would allow them to stay in service for longer. The staff computers were replaced first. They're older. They can't have that update, and we should probably move forward to make sure the computers stay functional anyway. We have 3 quotes for replacing the library staff computers. One is from CDWG, which is an online technology retailer for businesses with discounts applied for educational and government organizations like our library. And I also pulled from Amazon.com a quote for a machine similar to something that we have now. I have a strong preference for the Sundew technology. Jeremy has been working with us for the implementation and the execution of the whole computer replacement strategy. These are machines that he is familiar with and comfortable updating. The machine that we've selected is, it's not an all-in-one computer, it has a separate hard drive. And because of that, we can replace parts and upgrade and update and do things like this that we wouldn't be able to do with the public ones, which are all in one, but make a much nicer, cleaner presentation when you're sitting down to just get online at the library, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, long story short, would you move to choose one of these quotes?
I would move.
Questions for me?
I would like to move that we adopt Sundew technology. I personally have worked with Jeremy. He's wonderful. He knows a lot. His service is great, and he's local.
It's nice to keep things local.
For sure, I would second that.
He did provide the lowest bid, which
That helps.
That is also
Yeah.
appreciated.
Yeah,
Although it's amazing, the bids are fairly close,
yeah.
but it isn't really about going with the lowest bid. I think it's
No.
going with the best service.
Yep.
Right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thanks for getting these together for us, Amanda.
sure thing.
And then we have the emergency exit quotes, which you could send to us this week.
So as I mentioned in my memo, we received 2 recent declines and one proposal. We can just do the thing. One proposal from Donald Home Construction. This group did the roof on the City Hall building and was generous in stopping by to discuss the project with us. The proposal would give us an emergency exit door in the center of this space over here. It completes the wall and the wall painting. It does the concrete pad outside and also the lighting that are requirements for operating an emergency exit. And it also addresses some concern I have about the proximity of the portico roof directing snow right to the face of the door. So it's considered a turnkey project. A couple of thoughts about this quote. One, there's a typo that I have an email correcting that it says it provides for necessary tools and labor, but it should say materials. So those are included in the quote. It's right at the top.
Does it should say labor? I mean, it should say material?
It should say materials and not tools.
Oh, okay. I think it would be perhaps a good thing to have them send you a clean copy of that, so you have it on file.
I would definitely do that before accepting,
Mhm.
before signing a
All
contract
right.
with them.
So as I looked at this, my question, first of all, was who else have they worked for? But you say they worked on City Hall? Okay, then I would say that's a good recommendation. And then I looked at the bottom. It says, we do not include disposal of any known or unknown hazardous materials or abatement, which is the removal of hazardous material. And do we know, would this be needed? If it's needed, who does it?
Those are great questions and I can ask them for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would think, given that this is the newer part of the building, that it's not going to have asbestos or lead paint or something like that, that they would need to deal with.
I think that's a
Yeah.
good assumption, but
Worth
we
clarifying.
should ask.
Yeah.
No,
The church has had to have abatement here in our furnace in the last 2 years, so I can scare that up too if you need it.
Oh, that would be great, Kevin. Thank you.
David Mills would like to ask, I should say, he would like to contribute. He felt that this bid was high and he would be interested in pursuing a couple more quotes. He has one company in mind.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the first part of that. Who was it that thought the bid was high?
Commissioner
Mills.
David Mills.
Oh, okay. Well, he's in construction, so I do. And he
And
probably,
getting another bid would be nice.
yeah.
Have something
Mhm.
compare and contrast.
We have no context for this at all.
That's right. The part of it that I do like, and I think we should pursue another bid, but what I do like is that it's a turnkey. And depending on the cost.
Yeah.
Because you're right, no context. It might be worth paying a little more for turnkey.
As opposed to having to get multiple contractors in to do
Exactly.
different parts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, we need more context. Did Dave indicate that he might know who to contact?
He did. There's something called Gardeners.
Yeah.
I don't know who they are. Are they local, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, they work here. They're not located here, but they do work in this area.
Okay, and there's also a company in Duluth called Johnson Wilson that's going to have some construction projects going on up here in the summertime.
Oh.
I can reach out to them again and see what's the possibility of getting them up here for the quote.
And so this is a step, but we have a couple more to look at then.
Mm-hmm.
And see, it makes sense to me.
Okay. So if you could get us more data, more quotes, some more context on what this would look like, that would be great. Okay. All right.
Is a motion needed for
To get
getting
more quotes? I don't think
No.
so. I think we just
We just say-
don't move on it and request more information. All right. Anything else? We are adjourned. We will meet again March 27th.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
and I will not be